Today we're going to talk about the humanitarian principles and some of the coordination mechanisms that have been put in place to improve the delivery of humanitarian action. There are 4 principles. The first one is humanity, that actually define the goal of humanitarian action, which is about to save life and making sure that every human being is going to be respected during armed conflicts or during crisis. The second one is about impartiality, which actually defines the way humanitarian actors have to work, which is not to make any distinction between people or beneficiaries in terms of gender, race, ethnicity, or any political belief or social class. The third one is about neutrality, to make sure that no humanitarian actor is going to be involved in any political or ideological activity or is going to take part into one side or another during an armed conflict or a war. And the fourth one is about independence, to make sure that humanitarian actors are not going to be guided or influenced by politicians or any economic or ideological interest. These principles have guided the development of international conventions and code of conducts. The most important one is the Geneva Convention, signed in 1949, that actually describe or enforce the fact that belligerents should not target non-combatants and civilians during armed conflict. And then we have a series of code of conducts to improve the quality of humanitarian actions. One of them, for example, doing disaster relief, signed by the Red Cross movement and a few international NGOs, or the Sphere Project. So they define the way humanitarian actors should deliver humanitarian assistance by defining, for example, a few minimum standards. Finally, there is also a code of conduct for international donors and all the organizations that benefit from international funding. And it's all about trying to improve donorship and accountability. There are many humanitarian actors. We have host governments, the United Nations agencies like the High Committee for Refugees, OCHA on humanitarian assistance, WHO for health, or UNICEF, and plenty of other agencies. We also have the international NGOs, but as well the national NGOs, non-governmental organizations involved in the delivery of humanitarian assistance, the international donors to raise, mobilize resources, but as well to define priorities, and finally the private sector. The coordination of all these humanitarian actors are very important, central to the delivery of humanitarian assistance. And one agency, which is the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Action, has the responsibility to coordinate all these actors and to define or to develop guidelines and guidance for all these actors. And one of these key strategies is the cluster approach. There are 9 clusters, and for each cluster you have a lead organization. The responsibility of this lead organization is to organize coordination meetings and the sharing of documents and information between all the actors during a crisis. For example, water and sanitation and hygiene is led by UNICEF. The shelter cluster is led by the International Federation of the Red Cross. And the health cluster, of course, is led by WHO. All these clusters have to also be able to share the data and the results of these humanitarian operations. Recently, OCHA has put in place the humanitarian program cycle, which actually defines all the steps and stages that humanitarian actors need to take to be able, one, to define the needs, but as well to plan. And it's a very interesting coordination mechanism. We see now more and more in the field joint need assessment exercises between several agencies to define the needs, but as well many workshops or meetings to define common plans. It is very important to create this synergy between all these actors so that all these actors have a common vision of what needs to be implemented. These kind of documents and tools are also used to raise funds and mobilize resources.